with rising debt, aid here, left and right, inflation, some governments listen to IMF and whatnot. Do we really need reparations? Ladies and gentlemen, let us have a conversation.
The views and opinions shared on this program do not represent the position of Nigeriainfo FM. Nigeriainfo, let's talk.
Hello, Port Harcourt, with Jude on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
So 017-923-0002, 017-923-0007, 017-923-0002, 017-923-0007. We take a delve down history today and ask the question, knowing what you've read about slavery, whether it's a transatlantic slave trade, transatlantic slave trade, or the trans-Saharan slave trade, because if you didn't have the Kingdom and the Benin Kingdom, slavery, even among the Igbo subculture, slavery was very rife. It was very rife. People sold people across the Sahara Desert. They were coming down to Africa, to other parts of Africa, to buy and sell people. Even in the Bible, slavery is made mention of. So please, do we really need reparations? Or is this just another way of politicians trying to fleece other people from monies? All right. WhatsApp is 0809-030-6416. Sarah is on the line. Sarah is speaking to us from NTA Road. Good morning to you, Sarah. Welcome to the conversation.
Good morning.
Good morning, please.
How are you, Jude?
I am very well. Thank you for joining us. I hope you're well.
Yeah, I'm very well.
Good, good.
Actually, to me, I would like it's a two-way thing. Like maybe I'll say yes, like those countries, those African countries actually need those reparations, and on the other hand, so I could say also like it's not important because it's been a very long time. Actually, we should just move. We moved already, but I think recently there are some African nations, like Germany and some other countries that have actually returned most of the artifacts. Yeah,
returning the artifacts stolen from countries, right, is one way of saying, okay, we did something wrong, so yeah, let's do that. But it's not only Germany. When people used to raid, when our forefathers used to raid people's villages, how come nobody's asking the people who stole from Esako village to go and return things to? We don't do it, but we did it amongst ourselves.
Yeah, I understand. But then, it's still part of, like, the reparation process. Are we actually demanding for money from them? Are we actually demanding for a kind of liberation of the mental stress and all that has been through? All that cannot be corrected. It cannot be corrected.
I agree with you, Sarah. Money would not solve the problem, because once again, reparations are about repaying the causes and consequences of those human rights violations. So let's look at some of the human rights violations. You know that today we still have our brothers who are jumping boats and bridges to go to Spain and crossing the Mediterranean to go to European countries. And the reason why they are doing that is because they don't feel that their country is safe. They're not happy with what's happening in their own countries.
Yes, that's true. That's true, definitely, because as in all of these issues, to me, I feel like it can never be eradicated or be solved within, not just because of the conference or the meeting, the Commonwealth meeting that was held in Samuel.
Yeah, Samuel,
no, it's not going to resolve immediately. It's definitely going to take time. It will take time because even the UK, they are refusing it. Like, they won't do any of those things. The museum itself, they are not even agreeing to relieve any of those artifacts, like one of the issues that were raised in that meeting at the Commonwealth that was just held. They were actually bluntly refused.
Yes, they vetoed it.
Request that was made.
Yes, but here is the question for you: do you think some form of reparations should be made finally?
Yes, I think so, because a lot was actually taken away from us. Most of the suffering we have, we need to see what is happening in Sudan and other African countries is as a result of these particular issues. And I feel that, yes, something needs to be done. Reparation needs to, they need to like accept it in a very more like, it should be like strict. They should do that because it's very, very important. And most of the things we have been suffering as Nigeria, it's all part of these issues that came out during the slave trade and stuff like that.
Okay. All right, Sarah, thank you very much. Muriel is not quicker. Muriel, reparations for you, yes or no?
Joe, it is so for me. Now, there was a time we saw on CNN years back when one of their journalists, black African, I don't know if it's from Kenya or Zimbabwe, made a revelation how, especially black, were being enslaved and sold, into slavery. It was so raw and so frightening.
I saw that documentary.
Yes. And when people go through that, Jude, and maybe some of them come out alive, and then, trust me, this no matter what you do, if you like try to wrong the right, people of those nations try as much as they can to want to wrong, right the wrong, they do to such the person that experienced it firsthand. Trust me, dude, it cannot give them closure. It cannot remove that scar. It won't. Reparations may not. It may not do anything. It can remove the scar of going through slavery and surviving it. The survivors of slavery. I don't think it can be.
But Muriel, I think you have a point talking about there's no amount of maybe money or maybe apologies that can actually remove the scars. But don't you think a lot of our brothers, particularly our brothers in the US, for example, who are always blaming slavery on their suffering, don't you think that we should have moved past this mentality nearly 300 years after?
Of blaming slavery on who?
Or blaming slavery for their inability to get jobs, for blaming slavery on the fact that they're not doing well in America. You hear some black people, it's slavery. Slavery is the cause of all of these problems.
For me, I think it is not what they are saying. In fact, sometimes there are self-inflicted. Some of those, like those people that went to Libya, that those scenarios, they are the ones that walked into it, trying to look for better life, let me put it that way. So they walked into it. But there are some that it was imposed on them. For those that walked into it, trust me, what do you do? They are the ones that, though they did say those.
Hello.
For those mean children to be meted on them, trying to look for greener pastures, But one or two apologies, or maybe right or wrong, they can, if there is anything they can do. But I don't think any reparation, whether self-imposed slavery or those that were
okay. Okay, all right, thank you. Let's go for a break. When we come back, more on this conversation, please.
For more talk, news and sports, stay tuned to Nigeria Info. We'll be right back after this.
on this conversation. 0809-030-6416, 0809-030-6416. At Nigeriainfo PH, at Nigeriainfo PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X, at Nigeriainfo PH. Oh, by the way, X is the former Twitter, just in case you were wondering. Okay, all right? Yes, X, former Twitter, at Nigeriainfo PH. All right, now, Arcelia here says, hi Jude, even though we Africans think reparations need to be made, the question is the UK government willing to? Did you listen to the Prime Minister stammer his response to the issue? Now, did you also observe his countenance while he was speaking? Arcelia says, yeah, look, it's been long in the coming, right? And they use their veto powers, talking about the UK, because they're the head of the Commonwealth nations, to stop it. So, but the other country says, look, with or without you, we will have this conversation. Now, on one hand, I can actually understand why the leaders or the representatives of these countries, right, would want to have this conversation. Particularly the African countries or the countries of the Caribbean nations, because they were also colonized by the UK, right? You can understand why. We're talking about racism, social injustice. Remember, there were some Nigerians, just in case you didn't know, maybe this is a free history class, some of your forefathers, some of your great-grandfathers, right, willingly, when I say willingly, but anyway, they were conscripted into the British Army, into the Royal Army, right, to the British Army to fight in the Second World War. Yes, they were the African Corps. And a lot of them, from the books I read, they were more emotional psychology than it did physically. Talking about people, living their traditions, abandoning what they knew, and taking this new culture as, the only way or the better way to live life. That's the truth. I'm speaking English now as a result of colonialism. I know I am not antagonistic to any group or any person, but if we're going to have an honest conversation about this, the question is, should there really be reparations 300 plus years? And like I said earlier on, so the reason why the slave trade was so successful was because our own forefathers, our forebears, were directly involved in the slave trade. They were. There were people who were going around catching people from the interior villages and bringing them to Bonny, bringing them to the water side to be sold. You didn't know that? Please, once again, go and check history. Read up about. Don't take not my word for it. I'll show you I'm wrong, but just go and read it up. I'll show you. We'll come back after the headline news. WhatsApp is 0809-030-6416, 0809-030-6416. All right. Now, let's get to some messages. Good morning, Jude. You see, one of the reasons why this movie called The Roots is banned in America, not to be shown on cinemas, is to stop those in concern to flare off. Imam Magic. I don't think Roots is banned, though. I don't think Roots is banned. Because I saw Roots, the movie Roots. You know, some of you haven't seen it, go watch it. Has the main character, Kunta Kinte. Yeah, you should go see it. I don't think it's banned. All right. This one says, Jude, I totally agree that the white people should pay us for all the things that they've done to Africa. All the ways that they've been impoverishing this country and indeed this continent should be documented, and some form of payment should be made. Christian is in Bonny Island. Christian, good morning to you. He's on Bonny Island, rather. Good morning, Christian.
Good morning, Jude.
Yeah, welcome.
The effect of slavery on Africa can never be overemphasized. Yes, I think even the Indians, they receive reparation from the British government for the maltreatment on the Indians. So I don't see the reason why Africa should not be given the same. We deserve it. In short, some of the streets in Europe were being constructed, you understand, some of the metro lines, the big tunnels that have been dug by African slaves. And you can imagine, the development the African Americans have brought to Americans. Don't forget that in the 60s, 70s, Africans had no alternative but to go into music, and they were taxing them heavily. And you can imagine what that brought to the whole of America, the boost to American economy. But let's go back a little bit. The fact still remains that if there should be any reparation for Africa, I think it should be that the Europeans should come together and help Africa, and they should introduce a policy where the African leaders should not be bringing money, stealing money, stolen money to Europe and America. That will help a lot. We had a lot to do. But you see the fact that, look, if you know the percentage of our money, resources that goes into Europe by this, our leaders, you'll be amazed. And I think that is not enough. I've had a friend who went to university in France, and in the classroom, the white teacher, the French teacher, white teacher was telling them that almost all the resources in Africa belongs to France because they signed an agreement with the French government. Yes, it's a fact that they signed an agreement where all these our wrong leaders, they've given them rights to all the resources. So some of the resources in Africa belongs to France. That's the agreement they signed. That's why you see their currency, you understand, has no value. You have a unified currency in the whole of, Francophone Africa. CFA, it's another colonization. Their currency can never grow.
Okay.
It's because our people are even blind. That's why they are devaluing Naira. The Naira is supposed to be far, 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 far stronger than the CFA. That's the mistake they are making.
All right, Christian, thank you very much. Enzo is in Transamadi. Enzo, good morning to you, please.
Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome, please.
How are you?
Very well.
Yeah, my name is Enzo. I laugh when, after many decades of existence, of human existence, Africans, especially Nigerians, are still blaming the white man for underdeveloping Africa. Such a pity. You talk about slavery, but do you know the worst form of modern day slavery? Mental slavery. Africans, especially Nigerians, have been enslaved mentally until we, let me quote Bob Marley, until we emancipate ourselves from mental slavery. Africa, Nigeria will never make progress. And I'll tell you why and how Africans, and especially Nigerians, have been enslaved mentally. You see this thing people call religion, Christianity and Islam, the white men, Arabs and Europeans used it to keep us in perpetual bondage. Until we emancipate ourselves from mental slavery, Africa, Nigeria will never make progress. Just that's why you see in Nigeria here, you see have a conversation with an average Nigerian Christian why they support Israel. They'll tell you God gave Israel the land that is in Gaza. That's the only defense. That's what they know about Israel and Palestinian war. They don't have the details. To them, God gave Israel that land to be killing people because of the land. That is the conversation an average Nigerian Christian will tell you. And if you go on a background check on the history of Christianity, our forefathers were slaughtered like chicken to accept Christianity. Today, Africans and Nigerians still carry Christianity on the head like gala. And you expect such a continent to ever make progress?
So, Enzo, so we don't veer off and get to other interesting.
No,
but do you think reparations are needed? That's the question.
Well, for me, that one we should stop talking about the past. Our leaders will stop exporting our ports to Europe and America and Asia. And in law, a receiver of stolen goods is also guilty of the same crime the thief committed. But we have African leaders stealing our common resources, sending it to America, sending it to UK. They receive it, they stash it in banks in Europe and America, and the leaders do nothing. But the most important thing is our leaders can they stop stealing our common patrimony and send it to America.
All right.
Before I leave, Jude, whether you like it or not, we must emancipate ourselves from mental slavery. And only us can emancipate ourselves from mental slavery. If not, Africa will remain underdeveloped till the end of time.
Enzo. Yeah, Enzo, thank you very much. This one says, Jude, have you heard of the phrase that is quietly going around, but they are trying to stifle? It's called neo-colonialism. It's what they are doing today. How are they making Africa slaves? With debt. How do they continue to make Africa disunited with all of the wars and all of the fights in all of the regions in Africa? Check. There's almost no relative peace in almost every corner of Africa. Why? They don't need Africa united so they can continuously use the commonwealth of this continent. They should pay us for all the crimes that they have done. Simple. Okay, all right. Yeah. Yeah. That's a difficult one, right? They should pay, but if they pay, now this interesting question about reparations. Now, initially, reparations were used during war. So, like say a country goes to war with another country and loses, right? That the country that lost now has to pay reparations to the victor. For causing problems, maybe when they should have just used dialogue and they decide to know you wanted to go, okay, fine, now you've gone to war, you've lost. Fine. Pay. Reparations. Surrender and all those kind of things. Now, over the years, it has now evolved, right, into other forms of justice, human rights law, humanitarian law, whatnot, right? Now, the proponents of reparations have said that in order to be effective, reparations, must be employed alongside other transitional justice measures such as prosecution, truth-seeking, and institutional reforms. Remember, I made mention of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission in South Africa. I think, or at least that's what the proponents are saying, that look, if you're going to have reparations, the UK and the American government must admit that we did something wrong. There must be investigations to find out those families, those people who were beneficiaries, who were proponents of slavery and slave trade, right? And then there should be some form of payment from the estates that they make, because many of those families are still wealthy till today. Sugar plantations, cocoa plantations, cotton plantations were all developed on the backs of slaves. And some of those companies, in one form or the other, are still in existence today. It's a very long process we're talking about here. Very long. If at all, reparations should be made. Oh, dear. At Nigeriainfo PH, at Nigeriainfo PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X at Nigeriainfo PH, at Nigeriainfo PH. Join the conversation. This one on WhatsApp says, Jude, Africa does not deserve reparation. Well, I trust the white man. They really represent God, hence they subdue the earth. This so-called devil is evil. Better for him, for his dislodged knowledge of good and evil, which is more or less science and technology. The white gave black education free. The same thing Satan did, but can Nigerian president and governors give their own brothers, sister, in-laws, etc. knowledge freely? In 1960s, Nigerians schooled free. The answer is no. Amadi Okore with that. Amadi says, we don't deserve it. Alale is on the line from Bonny. Good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. Welcome, please.
Lest I forget. Another reparation they can do to help Africa. All these our wealthy politicians and past military, head of states, all their investment should be exposed and the money is returned. That's the only help they can do. We have a lot of our money outside by these people. They should return them to Africa. That is the help they can do for us. It will go a long way. And I want to say something here. A lot of people don't seem to believe this. We have what it takes. We have intellectuals. We have technocrats who can peddle the affairs of Africa. Look, people should look at the impact Goodluck made within a very short time as a professor, as a lecturer in the university. All those have been leading this country all this while, they are all illiterate. I remember a friend of mine, Cameroonian, who told me that they were not illiterates.
Military officers went to school. They're not illiterates.
No, sir. Some of them, they were just pushed because of their religion. They did not pass any of the military exams. I'm telling you the truth. They were just pushing them. They did not pass. They were all illiterate. They did not even go to primary school. Some of them were just almajiris there. They now.
So basically, you would want.
They were pushing them. Believe me. Believe what I'm telling you. I'm not just talking.
Wait, Alani, so before I let you, because Vincent is on the line in the chair. So for you, reparations should also include the stolen funds that have been taken away from this country. They should be exposed and they should be returned.
Those are the greatest help they can do to Africa. There's a lot of these people are multi-billionaires outside. Some of the investment in Europe belongs to them.
Okay. All right. 92.3 Nigeriainfo. Oh, dear. Vincent on the line. Whew. What a conversation. Okay. All right. Justin on WhatsApp says, Jude, good morning. You're talking about reparation. Let them start with the corrupt politicians in Nigeria. That's where they should start from. They should bring back their monies that they've stolen. It's a very far-reaching conversation. And it's one, that a lot of people cannot just say it's down to nairas and kobos. It really is beyond nairas and kobos. It really is beyond, people getting to have access to funds. But even in contemporary times, let me end with this. You see, even in contemporary times, you have to ask yourself this question. If there really is a commonwealth, like you like to preach when you go for the Commonwealth Games. I love Commonwealth Games, by the way, right? You have to ask yourself, how come Nigerians get blacklisted very often? A Jamaican has a better chance of getting a visa into the UK than a Nigerian does. But look at the contribution that Nigeria and Nigerians have made to that particular economy. Yet, you have to write IELTS to go to school in a country that you speak the same language. It's oh my goodness. Once again, this conversation cannot end in 1 hour. There's a reason why these governments are now saying time has come for us to actually talk about reparations. Make of this what you will. My name is Jude. What a Monday. Thank you as always for joining us in the conversations. All right, goodness. Final comment here says, Jude, good morning, please. Slavery is of the mind. Have you not seen Africans struggling today in Europe, America, Canada to do all kinds of jobs done by their enslaved parents? If you pay reparations, African leaders will steal them and send them back to these same countries. All Africa needs is to learn to work and not dancing around and seeking quick money by devilish means. Okay. All right. Thank you, as always, for joining us. Tomorrow is our car conversation day. That's our car corner, Tuesday, 10 o'clock. It's also one of the days that we'll talk about business. So look forward to conversations that will be towing that line. And God willing, we'll look forward to having a big conversation by 11 a.m. tomorrow. Have yourself a wonderful day. Stay well. Cloudy skies expected today, mostly cloudy, temperatures of between 25 and 27 degrees centigrade, with a chance of scattered showers from about 12:30 a.m. I'm not saying with the app, so between 12 and 3, expect rain in parts of River State. Good morning.